Hi, I'm Carlos, and I'm here to tell you about Walking Malta. Like this edition of Science in the City, we want to engage, empower, and enable pedestrians like you. This is a community research project where citizens and academics collaborate to study and plan for better walkability in Malta. Have you ever heard of walkability? It's a research topic that looks into pedestrian mobility and public space. It also looks into its causes and impacts. In other words, what makes a place more or less walkable or pedestrian friendly? And what happens where places are pedestrian friendly and people choose to walk more? Let's start with the impacts. Places where people walk more have healthier population. Walking improves your fitness, cardiac and mental health. More people walking for short trips instead of driving and parking means less traffic congestion and more public space in urban areas, which also means less air and noise pollution. Walkable places tend to boost local economy. They attract tourists, while residents prefer to buy in nearby shops. And they also encourage social interaction, improve social justice, and the livability of the place. For these reasons, there is a global trend to improve walkability. And this takes us to the causes. Because if we understand what makes a place more pedestrian friendly, then we could improve it to enable and encourage more walking. Let's take a look about the causes. Pedestrian environment. The characteristics of the place where you live, study and work influence whether you choose to walk or not, and how much you do so. Personal abilities and uptime. And here, I wanted to highlight that when I say pedestrian, I include people in wheelchairs. We are all pedestrians, even if we have different abilities to move around. Then we also have socioeconomic status and lifestyle, personal attitudes and culture, norms and policies, and even the availability of public transport and mobility as a service are known to influence how much we walk. And this list goes on and on. But for this research, we're going to focus on the pedestrian environment. We want to study walkability based on public space and try to understand the relationships between walkable environment and pedestrians to promote walking. So we will try to answer two main research questions. How can we measure walkability? And what enables and encourages people to walk more? But before I explain to you how we plan to measure walkability in Malta, let me give you two examples from other research. One of the most popular ways to measure walkability is to see how many places you can reach within walking distance. If you select a place, you could measure how far it is from some destinations, such as the nearest grocery, medical and educational center, public garden, playground, sport facility, restaurant, or bus stop. Places with more destinations within walkable distance will have a higher walkability rate, whereas places where you cannot reach basic daily needs on foot would have a lower rate. You can repeat this process everywhere to assess the walkability of a place based on walking proximity. But walkability is more than walking distance. Walkability audits look into the street level. They measure and check the presence or absence of certain elements of the walkable environment, such as pavement width, crossings, urban furniture, barriers, traffic flow, and so on. This will rate streets with different walkability values based on the built environment and other elements of the public space that interact with pedestrians. These assessments are based on observations of the walkable environment that allow researchers and practitioners to compare areas and follow interventions. However, most of them do not involve or take into consideration the people who walk in these areas, and we firmly believe that walkability cannot be abstracted from its social setting and should be assessed through the citizens who experience it. Pedestrian needs, observations and experiences must play an integral part in studying, planning and designing walkability. And this is why Walking Malta wants to explore perceived Walkability, a subjective assessment where pedestrians like you can help us to better understand and plan walkability in Malta. We defined perceived walkability based on the concepts safety, comfort, pleasantness, and vibrancy. You can rate your perceived walkability by saying if your walk feels safe or unsafe, comfortable or uncomfortable, pleasant or unpleasant, and vibrant or dull. Areas with more positive experience will have a higher perceived walkability rate than areas with negative ones. It would be great if you could also share your experiences with us, and you can do so using WhatsApp. Save the Walking Malta phone number on your mobile phone, and the next time you're walking and see or experience something relevant as a pedestrian, take a picture of the walk. Before you send the picture, use the Add Caption option to rate your experience. Remember that you can use any of the 8 concepts that we saw before. Then, add more text to explain what makes you feel that way. In this case, you can use your own words to identify any elements or characteristics of the walkable environment. You can also use the text to add some information that cannot be captured in the picture, such as noise pollution or night temperature. Finally, share the location of your observation. This information is crucial for the research. We needed to place your observations on our walkability map and perform some special analysis, as perceived walkability is calculated by aggregating nearby observations from different participants. And this is all the information that we need. And now, we're going to see what we can do with it. We have already received over 500 experiences and observations about the public space from pedestrians like you. Using our Perceived Walkability Index, we can identify which areas are considered more pedestrian-friendly and which require attention and improvement. You can see an interactive web map with all this information on our website. Once we process and analyze all this data, we are beginning to understand the main needs and concerns amongst pedestrians in Malta, and the unbalanced situation between positive and negative experiences. We're also identifying which are the most common concerns and appreciations amongst pedestrians. As we link their experiences with certain elements and characteristics of the public space that they consider relevant, we are starting to understand the underlying relationships between the walkable environment and pedestrians for the specific context of Malta. This valuable information can greatly assist future policy and planning. Walking Malta wants to gather the local knowledge and experience from pedestrians like you, the research skills from academia, and the influence and resources from policymakers to make Malta a more pedestrian-friendly place for all. If you're interested in this project and want to learn more, please contact us.